Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight we'll be walking slowly through the ancient and peaceful world of trees. A realm filled with quiet growth, endless patience, and mysteries hidden beneath bark and leaf. Around us stand the familiar sights, the oaks, the pines, and the maples we pass every day. But there is so much more than meets the eye. Some of the trees we see have lived for thousands of years, their roots reaching deeper than we can imagine. A simple sapling may one day tower over cities yet unbuilt, and the gentle rustle of leaves may be a conversation we cannot hear. Trees are both ordinary and extraordinary, something we see every day yet never cease to inspire wonder. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, I invite you to like and subscribe, or share a simple thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the calm of the forest to carry you. Let's begin. The ancient presence of trees. Trees have stood on Earth far longer than humans have walked it. When you stand beside an old tree and place your hand against its rough bark, you are touching something that connects to a lineage stretching back millions of years. Trees appeared on our planet long before the first humans, long before mammals roamed the land, even before the dinosaurs ruled the ancient continents. The earliest tree-like plants emerged around 385 million years ago during the Devonian period. They were strange compared to modern trees, lacking true leaves and flowers, but they began the transformation of Earth's landscape. Over millions of years, forests spread across the continents, creating the oxygen-rich atmosphere that would eventually allow complex life to flourish. To walk among trees today is to walk among the descendants of Earth's first great landscape architects, the organisms that fundamentally changed the planet itself. Trees shape very air we breathe through countless millennia. Before forests covered the land, Earth's atmosphere held far less oxygen than it does today. Early plants, including the ancestors of trees, began the slow work of photosynthesis, splitting water molecules and releasing oxygen as they captured sunlight. As forests expanded, this process accelerated dramatically. Trees became planetary engines, transforming carbon dioxide into the oxygen that fills our lungs with every breath. During the Carboniferous period, around 300 million years ago, vast swamp forests produced so much oxygen that the atmosphere contained even more than it does now. Giant insects thrived in that oxygen-rich world, dragonflies with wingspans the size of hawks. Those ancient forests eventually collapsed and compressed into the coal beds we mine today. Every breath we take carries the legacy of trees that lived and died hundreds of millions of years ago, their work continuing in the oxygen molecules we depend upon. The oldest living trees have witnessed thousands of years of human history. In the mountains of California, twisted bristlecone pines cling to rocky slopes where few other plants can survive. Some of these ancient sentinels have been growing for more than 5,000 years. They were already old when the pyramids of Egypt were built. They stood silently as empires rose and fell, as languages were born and forgotten, as countless human generations lived their brief lives far below. A tree named Methuselah, though its exact location is kept secret to protect it, is nearly 5,000 years old. When its first ring of growth formed, humans were just beginning to develop writing. Every ring in its gnarled trunk marks another year of survival, through drought, wind, and the slow passage of time. To stand near such a tree is to feel the weight of history, to realize how brief our human span is compared to the patient endurance of these living witnesses. Bristlecone pines thrive in harsh conditions. Most plants cannot endure. These ancient trees do not grow in comfortable, fertile valleys. Instead, They cling to mountainsides at high elevations where conditions are severe. The air is thin, the soil is poor, and the growing season is brief. Yet these harsh conditions are precisely what allows them to live so long. In difficult environments, bristlecone pines grow extremely slowly, sometimes adding less than an inch to their width in a century. This slow growth makes their wood incredibly dense and resistant to decay, pests, and disease. The very harshness that seems to threaten them actually protects them, limiting competition from faster-growing but shorter-lived species. Their twisted, weathered forms tell stories of survival against all odds. Branches on the windward side may be stripped bare, reduced to polished silver wood, while protected sections still support tufts of green needles. They are sculptures created by time and adversity, proving that sometimes the most challenging environments produce the most enduring life. Some trees are so massive that walking through them is possible. In the forests of California, coast redwoods and giant sequoias reach dimensions that challenge comprehension. The largest sequoia, named General Sherman, stands 275 feet tall and measures more than 36 feet in diameter at its base. Its total volume exceeds 52,000 cubic feet, making it the largest single living organism by volume on Earth. Some fallen redwoods have been so enormous that tunnels were carved through them for roads, allowing cars to drive through their massive trunks. Even standing trees sometimes develop hollow sections large enough to walk through, natural tunnels formed over centuries. To stand at the base of such a giant and crane your neck upward toward its distant crown is to feel wonderfully small, reminded of nature's capacity to create on scales that dwarf human achievement. These trees are living cathedrals, their canopies lost in mist, their presence both humbling and serene. Coast redwoods can grow taller than 300 feet into the sky. The coast redwoods of California are Earth's tallest living things. The current record holder, a tree named Hyperion, reaches 380 feet skyward, taller than the Statue of Liberty from base to torch. At such heights, the top of the tree exists in a different world from its base. Near the ground, the forest is dim and quiet, the massive trunks rising like columns into shadow. But at the crown, hundreds of feet up, sunlight streams through needles that dance in winds we cannot feel below. These upper reaches host their own ecosystems, with ferns, mosses, and even small trees growing in accumulated soil on the massive branches. Scientists who climb into these canopies discover entire communities of life that never touch the ground. The height of redwoods is made possible by California's coastal climate, where fog regularly drifts inland. The trees can absorb moisture directly through their needles, supplementing the water pulled up from roots far below. To imagine the journey of water molecules rising nearly 400 feet from soil to leaf is to appreciate the quiet power flowing through every tree. A single oak tree can support thousands of different species. Trees are not solitary organisms, but entire worlds unto themselves. A mature oak tree in a European or North American forest provides habitat and food for hundreds or even thousands of other species. Its leaves feed countless caterpillars, which in turn feed birds. Its bark harbors beetles, spiders, and other invertebrates. Its acorns sustain squirrels, deer, jays, and woodpeckers. Fungi grow in partnership with its roots, exchanging nutrients in an ancient collaboration. Lichens and mosses colonize its trunk and branches. Cavities in its wood become homes for owls, bats, and nesting birds. Even a dead oak continues to support life, slowly decomposing as fungi and insects break it down, returning its nutrients to the soil. No oak tree stands alone. Each is a community, a living apartment building providing shelter and sustenance to a bewildering diversity of life. To protect a single old tree is to protect an entire ecosystem, one that took decades or centuries to develop and cannot be quickly replaced. Trees communicate through underground fungal networks. Beneath the forest floor, hidden from view, tree roots intertwine with thread-like fungal filaments called mycorrhizae. These fungi form partnerships with trees, extending the reach of roots and helping them absorb water and nutrients from the soil. In exchange, trees provide the fungi with sugars produced through photosynthesis. But this network does more than exchange resources between tree and fungus. It connects tree to tree, creating what scientists call the wood wide web. Through these fungal networks, trees can share resources, sending nutrients to neighbors in need. A large tree may help keep nearby seedlings alive by sharing carbon through underground connections. Trees can even send chemical signals through the network, warning neighbors of insect attacks or environmental stress. What appears above ground as a collection of individuals is actually an interconnected community, supporting and communicating with one another in ways we are only beginning to understand. The forest is not a collection of separate beings, but a living network, woven together beneath the soil. Mother trees nurture their offspring through shared fungal connections. Within forests, certain large old trees serve as hubs in the underground network, connected to dozens or even hundreds of other trees. Scientists call these mother trees, and they play a crucial role in forest health. Research has shown that mother trees recognize their own offspring through chemical signals in the fungal network and preferentially send them resources. A mature tree might reduce the supply of nutrients to unrelated seedlings, while increasing flow to its own kin, giving its genetic descendants a better chance of survival. Mother trees also help regulate the forest community, sharing resources more widely when conditions are good and maintaining the network's health. When a mother tree is injured or dying, it often sends a final surge of nutrients to its neighbors, especially its offspring, as though making one last investment in the forest's future. These discoveries have transformed our understanding of forests, from collections of competing individuals to collaborative communities where the oldest members actively support the youngest. Trees can warn each other about insect attacks. When a tree is attacked by insects, it does not suffer in silence. Many species release chemical signals both into the air and through their root networks. Neighboring trees detect these signals and respond by producing defensive compounds in their own leaves, making themselves less palatable or even toxic to the approaching insects before they arrive. Researchers have found that trees downwind of an attacked tree will ramp up their chemical defenses, as will trees connected through underground fungal networks. Some of these defensive chemicals are incredibly sophisticated. Certain trees can analyze the saliva of the insects eating their leaves and produce compounds specifically tailored to deter that particular species. Others release volatile chemicals that attract predators of the insects attacking them, essentially calling for help. The forest is filled with chemical conversations we cannot hear, warnings and responses flowing through air and soil. What seems like a quiet, passive collection of plants is actually a dynamic community engaged in constant communication and defense. Some trees release chemicals that can affect human mood and health. Walking through a forest often produces feelings of calm and well-being, and science is beginning to understand why. Many trees, especially conifers, release organic compounds called phytoncides into the air. These chemicals serve the trees by protecting them from bacteria, fungi, and insects. But when humans breathe them in, these compounds can have measurable effects on our physiology and mood. Studies have shown that phytoncides can reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and boost immune system function. In Japan, the practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, has been developed specifically to harness these benefits. Spending time among trees, breathing the air they have chemically enriched, appears to promote health in ways that urban environments cannot replicate. The forest is not just pleasant to experience, but actively beneficial, offering healing that operates at a molecular level. Every breath taken among trees carries compounds that may be quietly supporting our well-being, gifts from the trees that surround us. A tree's rings tell the story of its entire life. When a tree is cut down, its trunk reveals a pattern of concentric rings, each one representing a single year of growth. But these rings are more than a simple count of years. They are a biography written in wood. Wide rings indicate years of good conditions, with plenty of water and warmth. Narrow rings mark difficult years of drought or cold. Scars in the rings show where the tree was damaged by fire, disease, or physical injury. By studying these patterns, scientists can reconstruct climate conditions going back centuries or even millennia. Ancient trees preserve records of long-ago droughts, volcanic eruptions that cooled the planet, and even human impacts on the landscape. Dendrochronology, the study of tree rings, has helped date ancient buildings, verify historical records, and understand how Earth's climate has changed over time. Each ring is a page in a book, and together they tell stories that span longer than any human lifetime. To read tree rings is to read history itself, preserved in the patient growth of wood. Trees in different seasons record different information in their wood. Each year, a tree adds a new ring of growth, but that ring is not uniform. In spring, when water is abundant and growth is rapid, cells are larger and wood is lighter in color. This creates the light portion of each ring. In late summer and fall, as growth slows, cells become smaller and denser, creating the darker portion. Together, these make one complete annual ring. But variations within and between rings tell much more. A summer drought might show up as a sudden narrowing partway through a ring. An injury might create a scar that subsequent rings grow around. Trees growing in seasonal climates show these patterns clearly, but trees in tropical regions, where seasons are less distinct, may have more subtle or irregular ring patterns. By examining rings at a microscopic level, scientists can even detect pollution events or changes in atmospheric composition. The wood of a tree is an archive, recording not just time, but conditions, events, changes with remarkable precision and fidelity. Some trees can clone themselves and live for tens of thousands of years, while individual tree trunks may live for centuries or millennia. Some trees have found a way to achieve a different kind of immortality. Certain species can reproduce through their root systems, sending up new shoots that are genetically identical to the parent tree. These clones remain connected underground, sharing resources and forming what is technically a single organism. The most famous example is Pando, a clonal colony of quaking aspen in Utah. What appears to be a forest of 47,000 individual trees is actually one organism, connected by a massive root system. Pando is estimated to weigh about 13 million pounds, making it the heaviest known living thing. More remarkably, the root system may be as old as 80,000 years, though individual stems live only about 130 years before being replaced. Pando has survived ice ages, countless fires, and enormous environmental changes by constantly renewing itself. It is a living connection to a time when mammoths still walked North America. Such clonal colonies blur the line between individual and community, between life and continuity. showing that organisms can persist in ways that transcend the limits of a single body. Trees can survive being mostly hollow inside. Ancient trees often develop hollow trunks as their heartwood slowly decays. One might think this would weaken them fatally, but many trees survive and even thrive with substantial hollowing. The secret lies in understanding tree structure. The living, functional parts of a tree are the outer layers, the cambium just beneath the bark where new growth occurs, the sapwood that transports water and nutrients, and the bark itself that provides protection. The heartwood at the center is already dead tissue, serving primarily as structural support. As trees age, the heartwood can decay without immediately threatening the tree's life. The outer shell continues to grow, adding new wood each year. Some trees become little more than living cylinders, their centers completely hollow, yet still supporting massive crowns of leaves and branches. These hollow trees often provide valuable habitat, with cavities large enough for animals to shelter inside. A tree can lose its heart and still reach toward the sky, still breathe and grow, still shelter the forest community that depends upon it. It is a reminder that strength and life can persist even when we think the core has been lost. Baobab trees can store thousands of gallons of water in their trunks. In the savannas of Africa, Madagascar, and Australia, baobab trees have evolved to survive in landscapes where rain is rare and drought is common. Their solution is remarkable. They grow massive trunks, often swelling to extraordinary proportions, with relatively sparse branches that look almost like roots reaching skyward. This unusual shape is functional. The trunk serves as a water storage tank, with spongy wood that can hold thousands of gallons. During the rainy season, baobabs absorb and store as much water as possible. Then, during the long dry months, they slowly draw upon these reserves. Some baobabs are so efficient at water storage that they can survive years without rain. Local people have long known this and sometimes tap baobabs for water during droughts, carving small holes to access the stored liquid. These trees are living wells, biological reservoirs adapted to one of Earth's most challenging environments. Their unusual appearance reflects their function, every aspect of their form shaped by the demands of survival in places where water is precious and fleeting. Some trees can live for months underwater. Most trees require air around their roots to survive, but some species have adapted to flooding that would kill their relatives. Bald cypress trees, found in swamps throughout the southeastern United States, can tolerate having their roots submerged for extended periods. They develop specialized root structures called pneumatophores, or knees, that grow upward from underwater roots and protrude above the water surface. These knees help transport oxygen down to submerged roots, allowing the tree to breathe even when standing in stagnant water. Mangrove trees, which grow along tropical coastlines, have taken this adaptation even further. Different mangrove species use various strategies. Some have roots that arch above the water surface to access air, while others have vertical breathing roots, similar to cypress knees. Some mangroves can even filter salt from seawater, allowing them to thrive where fresh water meets ocean. These trees bridge the boundary between land and water, creating unique ecosystems that serve as nurseries for fish and protective barriers against storms. They remind us that trees have conquered nearly every environment on Earth, adapting to challenges that would seem insurmountable to most plants. Mangrove forests protect coastlines from erosion and storms. The tangled root systems of mangrove forests do more than help individual trees survive. They provide critical protection to coastlines around the world. The dense network of roots slows wave action, reducing erosion and allowing sediment to settle and accumulate. During storms and tsunamis, mangrove forests act as natural barriers, their flexible trunks and interlocking roots absorbing and dissipating wave energy. Communities behind intact mangrove forests suffer significantly less damage from coastal storms than those where mangroves have been removed. Beyond physical protection, mangrove forests filter pollutants from water, improve water quality, and create habitat for countless species. Their roots shelter young fish, shrimp, and crabs, making mangrove forests some of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. Despite these benefits, mangrove forests have been extensively cleared for coastal development, shrimp farming. Conservation efforts now recognize that protecting mangroves protects human communities as well, providing services that no human-built structure can fully replicate. These humble trees, standing with their roots in salt water, are guardian forests, protecting the boundary where land meets sea. Trees produce most of the oxygen we breathe. There is a common misconception that rainforests, particularly the Amazon, are the lungs of the earth. While forests do produce enormous amounts of oxygen through photosynthesis, most of Earth's oxygen actually comes from phytoplankton in the oceans. However, trees still contribute significantly to the oxygen we breathe, and their role in the atmosphere extends beyond oxygen production. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, one of the primary greenhouse gases, and store the carbon in their wood while releasing oxygen. A mature tree can absorb about 48 pounds of carbon dioxide per year and release enough oxygen to support 2 people. Forests collectively act as carbon sinks, storing carbon that would otherwise contribute to climate change. When forests are cut down or burned, this stored carbon is released back into the atmosphere. Beyond gas exchange, trees affect climate through evapotranspiration, releasing water vapor that influences rainfall patterns and cools the atmosphere. They create the very conditions necessary for forests to persist, engineering local and even regional climates. Trees do not just live within an environment, they actively create and maintain it. Rainforests create much of their own rainfall through transpiration. Tropical rainforests receive enormous amounts of rain, but they also generate a substantial portion of it. Trees pull water from the soil and release it through their leaves in a process called transpiration. In a large rainforest, billions of trees are transpiring constantly, releasing vast quantities of water vapor into the air. This moisture rises, cools, condenses into clouds, falls again as rain. In the Amazon, studies suggest that the forest generates about half of its own rainfall through this cycle. The trees create the rain that sustains the forest that creates the rain, a self-reinforcing system. This means that deforestation does not just remove trees, it can actually reduce rainfall over large regions, potentially transforming rainforests into drier landscapes. The trees and the rain are partners, each depending upon the other. To remove the forest is to risk losing the rain itself, breaking a cycle that has persisted for millions of years. The rainforest is not just wet because it rains there. It rains there because the rainforest exists. A handful of soil from a forest floor contains billions of organisms. When you pick up a handful of forest soil, you are holding an entire world. That small sample contains billions of bacteria, millions of fungal cells, thousands of protozoa, and hundreds of larger organisms like nematodes and arthropods. This soil ecosystem is mind-bogglingly complex and diverse, containing more species than we can readily identify or count. These organisms break down fallen leaves, dead wood, and other organic matter, recycling nutrients and making them available for trees to absorb. They form symbiotic relationships with roots, protect plants from pathogens, and even influence soil structure, creating the loose, rich texture that characterizes healthy forest soil. Without this underground community, forests could not exist. trees and soil organisms have co-evolved over millions of years, each shaping the other. The forest floor may look like simple dirt, but it is teeming with life engaged in constant transformation. Every step you take in a forest is a step across an invisible metropolis, a thriving city of microscopic life working ceaselessly to maintain the whole. Fallen leaves return nutrients to the soil in an endless cycle. When autumn arrives in temperate forests, trees shed their leaves in a cascade of gold, orange, and red. These fallen leaves are not waste but a gift to the forest floor. As they decompose, all the nutrients the tree pulled from the soil to create them are released and become available again. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and countless other elements cycle from soil to tree to leaf and back to soil. Decomposers, the bacteria, fungi, and invertebrates that break down dead organic matter, are essential players in this cycle. Without them, nutrients would remain locked in fallen leaves and dead wood, and the forest would gradually become impoverished. But with them, death feeds life continuously. A forest is not a place where things grow until they die. It is a place where death is constantly transformed back into growth, where endings are always beginnings. The carpet of leaves beneath your feet in a forest is not a cemetery, but a nursery, where tomorrow's trees are being nourished by yesterday's foliage. Some trees drop all their leaves to survive harsh seasons. In regions with cold winters or severe dry seasons, many trees have evolved a dramatic survival strategy. They drop all their leaves at once, entering a state of dormancy until favorable conditions return. This deciduous habit allows trees to survive periods when photosynthesis would be impossible or when maintaining leaves would be too costly. In cold climates, leaves would freeze and be damaged, and the energy required to keep them alive would exceed any benefit. In strongly seasonal tropical regions, dropping leaves during the dry season reduces water loss when soil moisture is scarce. Before dropping their leaves, trees often withdraw valuable nutrients from them, breaking down chlorophyll and other compounds and storing the recovered nutrients in their roots and trunk. This is why autumn leaves change color. The green chlorophyll is removed, revealing the yellows and oranges that were always there, while the breakdown of other compounds sometimes produces brilliant reds. The bare branches of winter or dry season are not dead, but waiting, conserving energy and enduring until it is time to grow again. Cherry blossoms bloom for only a brief moment each spring. In Japan, the blooming of cherry trees, or sakura, is a cultural event of enormous significance. People gather to view the blossoms, celebrate their beauty, and reflect on the fleeting nature of life. The flowers last only a week or two before falling, a brief explosion of beauty that vanishes almost as soon as it arrives. This ephemeral quality is central to their meaning. Cherry blossoms remind us that beauty is temporary, that life is brief, and that this very impermanence makes each moment precious. From a biological perspective, the brief bloom is strategic. By flowering before leaves emerge, cherry trees ensure their flowers are visible to pollinators and not shaded by foliage. The quick bloom also reduces the risk that flowers will be damaged by late spring storms. But beyond strategy, there is something profound in their brevity. The knowledge that the blossoms will soon be gone makes them more vivid, more treasured. They teach us to appreciate what is present now, because it will not remain. The falling petals, drifting like snow through the spring air, are beautiful precisely because they are endings. Some trees can take decades to produce their first flowers. While cherry trees bloom in their youth, some species are extraordinarily patient. Certain bamboo species, for instance, may grow for decades without flowering, sometimes for more than a century. When they finally do bloom, Often, all individuals of that species flower simultaneously across entire regions, regardless of local conditions. After flowering and producing seeds, the plants die, sometimes collapsing over huge areas all at once. This synchronized flowering remains somewhat mysterious, possibly an evolutionary strategy to overwhelm seed predators with sheer numbers, ensuring that at least some seeds survive to germinate. Other slow-blooming species include some agaves and palms. The century plant, despite its name, typically flowers after 10 to 30 years, but the length of time is still remarkable. The plant spends its entire life gathering energy and resources for one spectacular flowering stalk that can shoot up 20 feet or more, producing thousands of flowers before the plant dies. This delayed reproduction is a gamble, a life spent in preparation for a single moment of flowering. It reminds us that not all growth is visible and that patience can be a profound strategy. Fruit trees evolved their sweetness to encourage animals to spread their seeds. The apples, oranges, cherries, and countless other fruits we enjoy are not accidents. They are evolutionary advertisements, designed to be eaten. Trees cannot move to disperse their seeds, so many have evolved a partnership with animals. They package their seeds in sweet, nutritious flesh that attracts birds, mammals, and other creatures. When an animal eats the fruit, it typically swallows the seed whole. Later, after the animal has moved away from the parent tree, it deposits the seed in its droppings, often with a convenient package of fertilizer. Some seeds must pass through an animal's digestive system to germinate successfully, their tough coatings softened by the journey. The sweetness we taste in fruit is an evolutionary message meant for other species, an invitation to participate in the tree's reproduction. Over millions of years, trees and their animal partners have shaped each other, the trees evolving more attractive fruits, the animals evolving preferences and digestive systems that handle those fruits. Every apple you eat is evidence of this ancient partnership, a contract written in sugar between trees and animals. Seeds can remain dormant for decades or even centuries. Seeds are time capsules, packages of life waiting for the right moment to awaken. Some seeds germinate within days or weeks of falling, but others can remain dormant for extraordinary lengths of time. Buried in soil, they wait, sometimes for decades, for the specific conditions that trigger germination. This strategy makes sense in unpredictable environments. If every seed sprouted immediately, a single bad year could eliminate an entire generation. By spreading germination across time, trees hedge their bets. Some seeds have been known to remain viable for centuries. In the most extreme case, scientists successfully germinated a date palm seed that was approximately 2,000 years old, discovered in an ancient fortress in Israel. The seedling grew into a healthy plant, connecting the present directly to the ancient past. Seeds can survive fire, drought, freezing, and burial, waiting with almost unimaginable patience for their moment to arrive. They are hope stored in a shell, potential life waiting quietly in darkness until conditions say the time has come. Fire actually helps some trees reproduce and regenerate. Fire is often seen as purely destructive, but many tree species have evolved to not just survive fire, but to use it. Jack pines, lodgepole pines, and several other conifers produce serotinous cones that remain closed for years, sometimes for decades. The cones are sealed with resin that only melts in the intense heat of fire. When fire sweeps through the forest, these cones open and release their seeds onto soil that has been cleared of competing vegetation and enriched with ash. Fire also removes the thick layer of needles and organic matter that can prevent seedlings from reaching mineral soil. Some eucalyptus species in Australia have taken this strategy even further. Their bark, leaves, and wood contain flammable oils that actually encourage fire. When fire comes, the trees quickly resprout from protected buds, while their seeds germinate in the cleared ground. By adapting to fire, these trees have turned a destructive force into a competitive advantage. Fire becomes not an enemy, but a partner in the forest's life cycle, a dramatic reset that clears the way for renewal. Sequoia groves depend on fire to maintain their ecosystem. Giant sequoias, the massive trees of California's Sierra Nevada, have evolved with fire as a constant presence. Their thick, fibrous bark can be over a foot thick and provides excellent insulation against flames. Mature sequoias regularly survive fires that would kill most other trees. But fire does more than spare adult sequoias. It is essential for their reproduction. Sequoia seeds are tiny and need bare mineral soil to germinate successfully. The thick duff of needles and organic matter that accumulates on the forest floor prevents seedlings from establishing. Fire clears this material away, creating ideal conditions for seeds to sprout. Fire also opens the sequoia's cones, releasing seeds just after the ground has been prepared. Additionally, fire reduces competition from other trees that are less fire-resistant, giving young sequoias the light and space they need. For decades, fire suppression in these forests led to a decline in sequoia regeneration and a buildup of flammable undergrowth that made eventual fires more destructive. Forest managers now recognize that allowing or deliberately setting low-intensity fires is essential for maintaining healthy sequoia groves. The trees and fire are partners, each needing the other for the forest to endure. Some trees can resprout even after being cut down. Many trees have a remarkable ability to survive what seems like death. If a tree is cut down but its root system remains intact and viable, it can send up new shoots from the stump or roots. These sprouts, called suckers or coppice growth, can sometimes grow rapidly, nourished by the extensive root system that remains. Certain species are particularly vigorous resprouters. Willows, poplars, and many oaks can regenerate this way. This ability has been used by humans for thousands of years in a practice called coppicing, where trees are deliberately cut to produce multiple stems that are harvested on a cycle. The same root system can support growth for hundreds or even thousands of years, though individual stems are harvested repeatedly. Some ancient coppiced stools, the base and root system, are estimated to be over 1,000 years old. The ability to resprout means that a tree's life is not necessarily ended by cutting. The roots remember, and given the chance, they will try again, sending new growth toward the light. It is a form of persistence, a refusal to yield, encoded in the very structure of the tree. Ancient forests have a different character than young ones. A walk through an old-growth forest feels different from a walk through a young plantation or recently regrown woodland. Old-growth forests have a complexity that takes centuries to develop. They contain trees of many ages, from seedlings to giants, creating a multi-layered canopy. Large standing dead trees, called snags, provide habitat for cavity-nesting birds and other animals. Fallen logs in various stages of decay nurse seedlings and harbor countless invertebrates and fungi. The forest floor is varied, with gaps where old trees have fallen and dense patches where young trees compete for light. This structural diversity supports biological diversity. More species can find their niche in an ancient forest than in a simpler, younger one. The microclimate is different too, more stable, with less temperature fluctuation and higher humidity from the complex canopy. Even the soil is richer, built up over centuries of organic matter accumulation and the development of complex fungal networks. Ancient forests are not just older, they are more complete, more intricate, more fully realized ecosystems. Once lost, they cannot be quickly replaced, no matter how many trees are planted. Time itself is a necessary ingredient. Cutting old-growth forests may release carbon stored for centuries. Trees store carbon in their wood, pulling carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and locking it away as they grow. In old-growth forests, enormous amounts of carbon are stored not just in living trees, but in standing dead trees, fallen logs, and the deep layers of soil built up over centuries. When these forests are cut, much of this stored carbon is released. Some is released immediately as trees are burned or decompose. More is released gradually as wood products break down and as soil, disturbed by logging, releases its carbon stores. Estimates suggest that old-growth forests store 2 to 3 times as much carbon per acre as younger forests. This means their destruction contributes significantly to atmospheric carbon dioxide, exacerbating climate change. Replanting helps, but young trees take decades to accumulate significant carbon, and they rarely match the storage capacity of the ancient forests they replace. Protecting old-growth forests is not just about preserving biodiversity and beauty. It is also a climate strategy, keeping vast quantities of carbon locked safely away in wood and soil, rather than adding to the atmosphere's burden. Every ancient tree cut is a library burned, a climate regulation service lost. Trees in cities provide cooling and reduce urban heat islands. Cities are typically hotter than surrounding rural areas, a phenomenon called the urban heat island effect. Concrete, asphalt, and buildings absorb and retain heat, while the lack of vegetation means less cooling through evapotranspiration. Trees combat this effect in multiple ways. They shade surfaces, preventing them from absorbing solar radiation. A street shaded by tree canopy can be 20 to 45 degrees cooler than an unshaded street. Trees also cool through transpiration, releasing water vapor from their leaves. This process consumes heat energy, cooling the surrounding air. A single large tree can transpire hundreds of gallons of water on a hot day, providing cooling equivalent to multiple air conditioners. Urban forests also improve air quality by filtering pollutants, reduce stormwater runoff by absorbing rain, and provide psychological benefits to city dwellers. Studies show that people living on tree-lined streets report better health and well-being than those without access to trees. Cities with ambitious tree planting programs are investing in natural infrastructure that provides multiple benefits. The trees cool the city, clean the air, manage water, and create beauty. They are living technology, requiring no power source beyond sunlight and operating cost-free for decades. Trees improve mental health and reduce stress. Humans have a deep connection to trees and nature, a relationship that may be hardwired into us. Studies consistently show that spending time around trees reduces stress, lowers blood pressure and heart rate, and improves mood. Even views of trees from windows have measurable effects. Hospital patients with views of trees recover faster and require less pain medication than those with views of buildings or parking lots. Office workers with views of nature report higher job satisfaction and better concentration. The reasons are likely multiple. Trees offer visual complexity that engages our attention without overwhelming it, a state psychologists call soft fascination. The fractal patterns of branches and leaves may be inherently soothing to our brains. The sounds of wind in leaves and the dappled light through canopy create sensory experiences that calm the nervous system. Perhaps most fundamentally, humans evolved in environments filled with trees. For millions of years, Our ancestors lived in forests and savannas, where trees meant safety, food, and water. Our positive response to trees may be an evolutionary inheritance, a deep recognition of the landscapes where our species developed. Whatever the mechanisms, the effect is real. Trees heal us in ways we are only beginning to measure and understand. The seasonal rhythms of trees. Trees mark the passage of time through their seasonal changes. In temperate regions, trees are living calendars, their transformations marking the year's progression. Spring brings swelling buds and the first tentative leaves, tender and bright green. Summer offers full canopies, deep shade, and the steady work of photosynthesis. Autumn transforms leaves into brilliant displays of color before they fall. Winter reveals the stark architecture of branches against the sky. These changes are driven by day length and temperature, signals that trees have evolved to read and respond to over millions of years. The timing of these events, phenology in scientific terms, is remarkably consistent for each species, but varies from year to year with weather conditions. Scientists now track these changes carefully, because shifts in timing can indicate climate change. Trees budding earlier or keeping their leaves later are responding to warming temperatures. They are witnesses and recorders, their rhythms a biological clock that measures the planet's changing patterns. The fall colors of leaves result from chemical changes. The brilliant reds, oranges, and yellows of autumn are not added to leaves but revealed. During the growing season, chlorophyll dominates, its green masking other pigments. As days shorten and temperatures cool, trees begin preparing for winter by breaking down chlorophyll and withdrawing its valuable nitrogen to store in their trunks and roots. As the green fades, other pigments become visible. Carotenoids, which were present all along, produce yellow and orange colors. Anthocyanins, which some trees produce in autumn, create reds and purples. The exact colors and their intensity depend on species, weather, and individual tree health. Bright, sunny fall days and cool nights promote anthocyanin production, leading to more vibrant reds. The autumn display is not for our benefit but a side effect of trees efficiently reclaiming resources before letting their leaves fall. Yet knowing the chemistry does not diminish the beauty. If anything, understanding that we are watching a vast chemical ballet, millions of trees simultaneously transforming as they prepare for winter, makes the display even more remarkable. Some trees show brilliant fall colors while others simply turn brown. Not all trees put on an autumn show. Some, particularly many oaks and beeches, simply turn brown as their leaves die. The difference relates to how thoroughly they withdraw nutrients before leaf drop. Trees that produce brilliant colors are typically more efficient at reclaiming nitrogen and other compounds, breaking down chlorophyll, but leaving or producing other pigments. Trees that turn brown may withdraw less completely, leaving more compounds in the leaves as they die. This can be related to species strategy, environmental conditions, or tree health. Stressed trees often produce less vibrant colors. The brilliance of fall foliage can actually serve as an indicator of forest health, with degraded forests showing duller colors. There is also geographic variation. New England is famous for its autumn displays, with a mix of species and climate conditions that produce spectacular colors. In other regions, autumn is more subtle, but even the browns have their own beauty, a quieter transformation, the forest settling into rest without fanfare, conserving energy for the renewal that spring will bring. Winter buds are formed the summer before they open. The buds that open in spring, releasing new leaves and flowers, are not created in the moment. They were formed the previous summer, tiny packages of embryonic leaves or flowers, wrapped in protective scales. Through fall and winter, These buds wait dormant, enduring cold and snow. Many require a period of cold, called chilling hours, before they can open. This prevents them from being fooled by warm spells in late winter that might be followed by killing frosts. Only after accumulating enough cold exposure will the buds respond to spring warmth by swelling and opening. Inside each bud is a miniature version of what will emerge, leaves already formed at microscopic scale, waiting only for warmth and water to expand. This means trees are always planning ahead, always preparing for the next season, even while living in the current one. The buds of winter are promises, guarantees, written in plant tissue that spring will come, that the cycle will continue, that bare branches will again be clothed in green. Spring blooms often appear before leaves to ensure pollination. Many trees flower in early spring before their leaves emerge. This timing is not accidental but strategic. By blooming before leaves appear, trees ensure their flowers are fully visible to pollinators. In a forest where competition for pollinator attention is intense, visibility matters. Without leaves to shade them, flowers receive more sunlight and can warm quickly on cool spring days, making them more attractive to insects. The absence of leaves also means wind-pollinated trees, like oaks, maples, and birches, can release pollen that travels more freely without being caught in their own foliage. For trees, the early spring is a narrow window. They must bloom after the worst of winter cold, but before other plants steal all the pollinators' attention. The bare branches covered in flowers, cherry blossoms against grey sky, or maple flowers dangling like tiny red ornaments, are racing against time. They are completing the crucial work of reproduction before devoting energy to leaves and growth. It is a calculated risk, betting that late frosts will not destroy the flowers, wagering on the future. Some trees produce flowers that have no petals, but are beautiful nonetheless. Not all tree flowers are showy. Many trees produce small, inconspicuous flowers that lack the colorful petals we associate with blossoms. Oaks, for instance, produce drooping catkins, clusters of tiny flowers that release prodigious amounts of pollen into the wind. Willows produce fuzzy catkins that are among the first flowers of spring, vital early nectar sources for bees. Birches, alders, and many conifers produce similar structures. These flowers may not stop us in our tracks the way cherry blossoms do, but they have their own subtle beauty. The pale gold catkins of willows catching the light, the delicate dangling catkins of birches, the upright cones of alder flowers, all contribute to the texture and color of the early spring forest. They remind us that beauty takes many forms, and that not all important flowers announce themselves boldly. These quiet flowers are working flowers, focused on the practical business of reproduction without ornament. Yet in their simplicity and abundance, they create their own aesthetic, a softer, subtler celebration of spring. Tree bark is as distinctive as a fingerprint. If you learn to read bark, you can identify most trees even in winter when they lack leaves. Each species has characteristic bark patterns that develop as the tree grows. Birches have distinctive white or silver bark that peels in papery layers. Sycamores shed bark in irregular patches, creating a camouflage pattern of white, tan, and green. Oak bark is deeply furrowed and rough. Beech bark is smooth and grey, often marked with old scars and inscriptions. Cherry bark has distinctive horizontal lines called lenticels. As trees age, their bark changes, often becoming more deeply textured. The bark of a young oak is relatively smooth, but a mature oak's bark is thick and rugged. These patterns reflect how the bark grows and responds to the expanding trunk beneath. Bark must split or peel to accommodate the growing tree, and each species has its own way of managing this expansion. Learning bark is like learning faces. At first, all seems similar, but with attention, each becomes distinct and recognizable. The forest is filled with identities written in bark, each tree announcing itself to those who have learned to read the language of texture and pattern. Bark protects trees from insects, disease, and fire. Bark is not just an aesthetic feature, but a crucial defense system. It forms a protective barrier between the living tissues of a tree and the outside world. Thick bark insulates the tree, protecting the delicate cambium layer where growth occurs. It blocks many insects from reaching the nutritious inner layers. It resists fungal and bacterial infections. It provides some protection from fire, with thicker bark offering more insulation. Some trees, like cork, oak, and giant sequoia, have developed extraordinarily thick bark, specifically as fire protection. Bark also helps regulate water loss and gas exchange through small openings called lenticels. Despite its dead appearance, bark is dynamic, constantly being added from the inside as the tree grows, and being lost from the outside as it weathers and flakes away. Damage to bark can seriously harm, or even kill a tree by exposing the vulnerable layers beneath. When deer strip bark from trees, or when people carve into bark, they are breaching the tree's first and most important line of defense. The bark that looks so solid and permanent is actually a thin, protective suit, carefully maintained, without which the tree cannot survive. Some trees shed their bark in distinctive ways, while most bark remains on the tree, thickening and cracking as the tree grows. Some species actively shed their bark. Birch bark peels away in horizontal strips, creating the characteristic white or silver appearance. This peeling serves to shed lichens and mosses that might otherwise colonize the trunk. Sycamore and eucalyptus bark flakes away in irregular patches, constantly renewing the trunk's surface. The London plane tree, a sycamore relative popular in cities, sheds bark to help it tolerate air pollution, as the shedding removes accumulated particulates. Some eucalyptus species shed so much bark that it accumulates on the ground around them, creating a fire hazard in dry conditions. The smoothness of shedding bark makes these trees less susceptible to vines that might otherwise climb them. Each approach to managing bark growth and wear represents a different evolutionary solution to the challenges of protecting a living column of tissue while allowing for continuous growth. The variety of bark types and behaviors is one more example of the many ways trees have adapted to their environments, each solution suited to particular challenges and opportunities. The outer bark is dead tissue, but it was once alive. Bark begins its life as living tissue produced by the cambium layer. As new bark cells are produced on the inside, older cells are pushed outward. As they move outward, these cells die, their walls thickening and hardening. The dead outer bark is called the ritidome, and it is this dead tissue that we see and touch. Beneath it, closer to the tree's center, is a layer of living bark called the phloem. This living layer transports sugars produced in the leaves down to the roots and other parts of the tree. It is part of the tree's circulation system, as vital as our own blood vessels. The outer dead bark protects this inner living layer. If you peel bark deeply enough to expose the phloem, you can seriously damage or kill the tree by interrupting this flow of nutrients. A ring of damage completely around the trunk, called girdling, will kill everything above that point. Trees can sometimes survive partial bark damage by routing nutrients around the injury, but extensive damage is often fatal. The bark we casually touch is thus a layered system: dead exterior protecting living interior, form and function integrated into a protective covering that must balance rigidity with flexibility, permanence with growth. Trees and their partners. Trees depend on fungi for survival in most environments. The relationship between trees and fungi is one of nature's most important partnerships. The majority of tree species form mycorrhizal associations, connections between tree roots and fungal threads. The fungi colonize the root system, extending thread-like filaments called hyphae through the soil, far beyond where roots alone can reach. These fungal networks dramatically increase the tree's ability to absorb water and nutrients, especially phosphorus and nitrogen. In exchange, the tree provides the fungi with sugars produced through photosynthesis. Neither partner can thrive without the other in most natural settings. Trees grown without their mycorrhizal fungi are stunted and sickly. The fungi, meanwhile, cannot photosynthesize and depend entirely on trees for carbon. This partnership is ancient, dating back to when plants first colonized land over 400 million years ago. It may have been the alliance with fungi that made it possible for plants to leave aquatic environments and survive on land. Today, a tree's roots are essentially hybrid structures, part tree and part fungus, working together. The forest floor is not just soil but a living web of these partnerships, invisible threads binding trees to fungi in mutual dependence. Different types of fungi form different relationships with trees. Not all mycorrhiza are the same. Two main types exist, with different structures and functions. Ectomycorrhiza form a sheath around the outside of fine roots and extend between root cells without penetrating them. These are common in temperate forest trees like oaks, pines, and birches. The fungi are often the ones that produce large mushrooms, familiar species like boletes and amanitas. Endomycorrhizae, particularly arbuscular mycorrhizae, actually penetrate root cells, forming intricate branching structures inside the cells. These are more common in tropical trees, many fruit trees, and most herbaceous plants. The two types offer different benefits and have different ecological roles. Some trees can associate with multiple fungal species simultaneously, even mixing types. The diversity of these partnerships reflects millions of years of coevolution, with trees and fungi adapting to each other and to local conditions. The specific fungi associated with a tree species in one region might be different from those in another region, showing that these partnerships can be flexible and locally adapted. Underground, the forest is a network of relationships, invisible but essential. Mushrooms are the fruiting bodies of fungi living with trees. When you see mushrooms growing under trees, you are seeing only a tiny visible part of a much larger organism. The mushroom is the reproductive structure, producing spores for dispersal. The main body of the fungus is underground, a vast network of filaments threading through the soil and interconnected with tree roots. Some of these fungal networks can be enormous. A single individual of the honey fungus species, Armillaria solidipes in Oregon, is estimated to cover over 2,000 acres and weigh hundreds of tons, making it arguably the largest single organism on Earth. The mushrooms we see appear when conditions are right for spore production, typically after rain when the soil is moist. Within days, they emerge, spread their spores, and then decay, while the underground network persists, continuing its partnership with trees. Different mushroom species are often associated with specific trees. Chanterelles fruit near oaks and conifers. King boletes appear under pines and spruces. Fly agarics, the iconic red mushrooms with white spots, grow with birches and conifers. By learning which mushrooms appear with which trees, foragers and naturalists can read the forest's underground partnerships, seeing visible signs of invisible connections. Some trees also partner with nitrogen-fixing bacteria, While mycorrhizal fungi help trees access phosphorus and other nutrients, some trees have evolved partnerships with bacteria that can do something most organisms cannot. Take nitrogen from the air and convert it into forms plants can use. These nitrogen-fixing bacteria colonize root nodules, small swellings on the roots of certain trees. The tree provides the bacteria with sugars, and the bacteria provide nitrogen. This partnership is common in the legume family, which includes trees like acacias, locusts, and mesquite. It also occurs in alders, which have nitrogen-fixing partnerships with a different type of bacteria. These trees are often pioneer species, able to colonize poor soils because they bring their own nitrogen fertilizer. Over time, they enrich the soil, making it suitable for other species. In forests recovering from disturbance, nitrogen-fixing trees often appear early, preparing the ground for later succession. Farmers and foresters sometimes plant nitrogen-fixing trees deliberately to improve soil. These partnerships remind us that trees do not live alone, but in networks of mutual support with fungi, bacteria, and countless other organisms all contributing to the forest ecosystem. Lichens on tree bark are partnerships between fungi and algae. Lichens are among the most visible organisms on tree bark, appearing as crusty, leafy, or branching growths in colors ranging from gray and green to brilliant orange and yellow. Though they look like single organisms, lichens are actually partnerships between fungi and photosynthetic partners, usually algae or cyanobacteria. The fungus provides structure and protection, while the photosynthetic partner produces food through photosynthesis. Together, they can colonize surfaces where neither could survive alone, including bare rock, tree bark, and even desert soil. Lichens on trees are not parasites. They do not harm the tree, but simply use the bark as a surface to grow on. In fact, abundant lichens are often a sign of good air quality, as many species are sensitive to pollution. A tree covered in diverse lichens is likely in a healthy environment. Lichens grow very slowly, sometimes only a few millimeters per year, meaning that large, well-developed lichen communities indicate old, stable habitats. They add to the forest's diversity, providing food for some animals and creating microhabitats for tiny invertebrates. These visible partnerships on bark remind us that complexity builds on complexity, relationships within relationships, all contributing to the forest's richness. Epiphytes grow on trees without harming them. In tropical and temperate rainforests, trees are often festooned with other plants growing on their branches and trunks. These epiphytes, including orchids, bromeliads, ferns, and mosses, are not parasites, but simply use trees as platforms to reach light. They gather water from rain and fog and nutrients from organic debris that accumulates in bark crevices. Some tropical trees support hundreds of epiphyte species, creating entire gardens in their canopies. The weight of all these guests can be substantial, with some trees carrying tons of epiphytic growth. Yet the trees persist, their strength sufficient to support these aerial communities. Epiphytes increase the forest's biodiversity dramatically, creating habitat and food sources for countless animals. Tree frogs breed in water-filled bromeliads. Insects pollinate canopy orchids. Birds and mammals feed on epiphyte fruits and leaves. The trees provide real estate, and in return, they become centers of biodiversity, supporting communities that would not exist at ground level. This relationship shows another dimension of forest interconnection, where trees are not just trees, but living frameworks supporting entire ecosystems in the air. Spanish moss is neither Spanish nor moss, but an epiphyte. Draping from trees across the American South, Spanish moss creates an iconic atmospheric image. Despite its name, it is neither moss nor from Spain. It is a flowering plant, an epiphyte related to pineapples in the bromeliad family. It has no roots in the ground, but absorbs water and nutrients directly from the air and rain through specialized scales on its leaves. It photosynthesizes and produces tiny, fragrant flowers. Spanish moss does not harm the trees it grows on, though heavy growth can occasionally shade foliage or add enough weight to contribute to branch breakage in storms. Birds use it for nesting material. Some small animals hide in its tangles. Historically, it was harvested and used as stuffing for mattresses and car seats. The plant can grow remarkably fast, spreading by fragments that blow in the wind and catch on new branches. A single strand can grow several inches per year. This drapery transforms the visual character of southern forests, giving them a mysterious, time-worn quality. It is a reminder that plants have evolved countless strategies for life, and that trees provide opportunities for other organisms to evolve unexpected ways of living in the forest. The hidden life of roots tree. Roots typically extend far beyond the canopy. When we see a tree, we imagine its roots as a mirror image underground, a roughly equivalent structure below ground. But reality is different. While some roots, called taproots, do grow straight down, most tree roots spread horizontally, relatively close to the surface. The majority of a tree's roots are in the top 3 feet of soil, where oxygen, water, and nutrients are most abundant. These horizontal roots can extend far beyond the tree's canopy, sometimes twice the diameter of the crown or more. The roots of neighboring trees often intertwine, creating a complex underground network. This spreading root system helps explain why trees can be damaged by construction or soil compaction well beyond their visible canopy. It also means that trees are interconnected underground, much more than we realize. The roots of many trees in a forest touch, overlap, and even graft together, creating physical connections between individuals. What we see above ground as separate trees may be part of a shared underground network, an invisible foundation supporting the visible forest. Roots grow toward water sources and nutrients. Roots do not grow randomly through the soil, but respond to environmental cues. They exhibit hydrotropism, growing toward moisture. If one part of the root system encounters moist soil, those roots proliferate while roots in drier areas stop growing. Similarly, roots show nutrient foraging, growing more extensively in areas rich in nutrients. This directed growth allows trees to efficiently exploit their environment, concentrating their root systems where resources are most available. Roots also respond to gravity, with the main structural roots growing downward, while fine feeding roots spread horizontally. In urban environments, tree roots famously seek out and invade sewer lines and water pipes, following the moisture and nutrients that leak from these sources. The ability to sense and respond to environmental gradients is essential for sessile organisms like trees that cannot move to better conditions. Instead, they grow toward what they need, continuously sampling their environment and adjusting their form accordingly. The root system is not a static structure, but a dynamic one, constantly responding to changing conditions in the soil. Some trees produce sinker roots that reach down to deep water. While most roots remain relatively shallow, some trees send specialized roots much deeper. These sinker roots descend from the horizontal root system, sometimes reaching 20, 30, or even 60 feet down to access groundwater. Trees in arid regions particularly rely on this strategy, sending roots deep to tap into water sources unavailable to shallow-rooted plants. Mesquite trees in the American Southwest are famous for extremely deep roots, with some documented to depths over 150 feet, deeper than the trees are tall. This allows them to survive in deserts where surface water is rare. Deep roots provide stability and insurance against drought, but they are expensive for the tree to produce and maintain. In environments where shallow water is sufficient, trees invest less in deep roots and more in spreading shallow networks. The rooting strategy of a tree reflects its environment and evolutionary history. Each species adapted to the particular challenges of obtaining water where it grows. Root grafting connects separate trees into shared systems. Sometimes the roots of two trees grow so closely together that they fuse, creating a living connection. This root grafting occurs when roots of the same species, or sometimes closely related species, touch and their cambium layers align. Over time, the tissues merge and the two root systems become continuous. Nutrients, water, and even chemical signals can flow between grafted trees. In some forests, root grafting is common, creating extensive networks of connected trees. This has surprising implications. A stump whose roots are grafted to living neighbors can survive indefinitely, kept alive by resources shared from the connected trees. Foresters sometimes find old stumps that are still alive decades after cutting, sustained by neighbors. Root grafting can also spread disease. If one tree becomes infected, the pathogen can travel through the grafted roots to neighbors, but it also provides stability. Connected trees can share resources during stress, with strong trees supporting weaker neighbors. Root grafting creates a more integrated forest, where trees are not fully independent, but part of a shared underground infrastructure, literally linked tree to tree. The root cap guides root growth through soil. At the tip of each growing root is a structure called the root cap, a thimble-shaped cluster of cells that protects the delicate growing point as it pushes through soil. Soil is filled with rocks, organic matter, and microorganisms, a complex and often abrasive environment. The root cap takes the abuse, with its outer cells, constantly worn away and replaced from behind. The root cap also secretes mucilage, a slimy substance that lubricates the root's passage and helps it glide between soil particles. Additionally, the root cap contains specialized cells that sense gravity, telling the root which way is down. This gravitational sensing ensures that roots grow downward into the soil rather than wandering aimlessly. The root cap is a tiny structure, often only a few millimeters long, but it is essential for root growth. Without it, roots cannot effectively penetrate soil or orient themselves properly. It is one of many specialized structures that trees have evolved to solve the specific challenges of their lifestyle. In this case, the challenge of growing through darkness into a solid medium while obtaining the resources needed for life. Root hairs multiply the surface area for absorption. Just behind the growing tip of each root, thousands of tiny root hairs emerge from the root's surface. These are microscopic extensions of individual cells, creating an enormous increase in surface area. A single mature tree may have billions of root hairs, collectively providing hundreds or even thousands of square meters of absorptive surface. Root hairs are the primary sites where water and nutrients enter the tree. They grow into the tiny spaces between soil particles, making intimate contact with the soil environment. Each root hair lives only a few days or weeks before dying and being replaced by new ones, growing farther along the root. This constant turnover keeps the absorptive zone at the growing tips where the soil is being newly explored. The root hairs are so fine and delicate that they are usually destroyed when trees are transplanted, which is why transplant shock occurs. The tree must regrow its root hair network before it can effectively take up water again. These invisible structures too small to see without magnification, are essential to every tree's survival. The interface, where tree meets soil, where water and nutrients cross from the earth into the living wood. Trees and wildlife. Trees provide food for countless species throughout the year. Trees are living buffets, offering food resources through every season. In spring, their flowers provide nectar and pollen for bees, butterflies, and other insects. In summer, their leaves feed caterpillars and other herbivores, which in turn feed birds and other predators. In autumn, many trees produce nuts, seeds, or fruits that sustain mammals, birds, and insects preparing for winter. Acorns feed deer, squirrels, jays, and woodpeckers. Berries nourish bears, birds, and small mammals. Pine seeds feed crossbills and squirrels. Even in winter, trees provide food. Buds sustain browsing deer and rabbits. Bark feeds porcupines and beavers. Insects overwintering in bark crevices provide essential protein for woodpeckers and other birds. The sap of some trees attracts sapsuckers, birds that drill holes and return to drink the sweet liquid. Dead and dying trees support wood-boring beetle larvae, which feed woodpeckers. A single oak tree can support hundreds of caterpillar species, which collectively feed entire bird populations. Without trees, most forest animals would have nothing to eat. The forest food web begins with trees, the primary producers that capture sunlight and transform it into the energy that flows through the entire ecosystem. Squirrels plant more trees than any human effort. Squirrels gather and bury nuts in autumn, creating caches to sustain them through winter. They have remarkable memory and can recover many of these hidden stores even under deep snow. But they do not find all of them. The nuts they forget or do not need remain buried, and in spring, some germinate. Each forgotten acorn or hickory nut is a tree planted in ideal conditions, buried at the correct depth in soil loosened by the squirrels' digging. Across a forest, thousands of squirrels bury millions of nuts, and a significant percentage are never recovered. These become the next generation of trees. Squirrels are thus one of the most important tree planters in temperate forests, agents of dispersal ensuring that trees colonize new areas and that the forest regenerates. The relationship is mutualistic. Trees produce abundant nuts, far more than needed just for reproduction, essentially paying squirrels to disperse their seeds. Squirrels get food and inadvertently plant forests. Some trees, like oaks, have likely evolved their nut characteristics specifically to appeal to squirrels, creating nuts large enough to be worth caching, but small enough to handle. This partnership has shaped both squirrels and trees, an evolutionary dance that continues in every autumn's frantic gathering and burying. Woodpeckers excavate homes that many other species use. Woodpeckers are ecosystem engineers, their excavation work benefiting dozens of other species. Using specialized beaks and shock-absorbing skulls, they hammer into dead or dying trees to create nest cavities. After raising their young and abandoning the cavity, it becomes valuable real estate. Owls, kestrels, and other birds that cannot excavate their own cavities nest in old woodpecker holes. Squirrels and other small mammals use them for shelter. Bees and wasps sometimes colonize them. Even some frogs and salamanders find homes in cavities near the ground. A single woodpecker cavity might be used for decades by a succession of different species. In forests where dead standing trees are abundant, cavity availability is high and supports diverse wildlife. But in managed forests where dead trees are removed, cavity nesting species decline. Woodpeckers need dead or dying wood to excavate, both for nesting and for feeding on the insects that colonize such trees. Protecting dead standing trees, called snags, is essential for maintaining the cavity nesting community. The woodpecker's hammering, echoing through the forest, is not just hunting or territoriality, but the sound of habitat being created, homes being built that will serve the wider community long after the builder has moved on. Birds disperse tree seeds across great distances. Many trees produce fleshy fruits, specifically to attract birds. Birds eat the fruits, digest the pulp, and excrete the seeds, often miles from the parent tree. This long-distance dispersal allows trees to colonize new areas and maintain genetic diversity by mixing populations. Some seeds even require passage through a bird's digestive system to germinate successfully, their coatings softened by digestive acids. Different birds disperse different trees. Thrushes and waxwings love berries and disperse cherries, hawthorns and hollies. Jays cache acorns, dispersing oaks. Fruit pigeons in the tropics disperse fig and nutmeg seeds. The relationship between trees and birds has shaped both partners. Trees have evolved fruits with colors, sizes, and ripening times that appeal to the birds, most likely to disperse their seeds effectively. Birds have evolved digestive systems that process fruits efficiently, and behavior that leads them to perch in suitable germination sites. When birds disappear from a forest, whether through hunting or habitat loss, the trees that depend on them for dispersal may fail to reproduce, even if the mature trees remain. The forest's future depends on the flutter of wings, on birds eating and flying, and leaving seeds in their wake. The wisdom of ancient trees. Old trees hold knowledge in their rings and their presence. There is something different about standing beside a tree that has lived for centuries or millennia. These old trees have witnessed so much history, survived so many challenges, that their mere existence feels significant. They have endured droughts that killed younger trees, weathered storms that toppled their neighbors, resisted diseases and pests through luck and resilience. Each year's growth ring holds a memory, a record of that year's conditions, encoded in the width and density of wood. Scientists study these rings to understand past climates, reconstruct historical droughts and wet periods, and even date wooden artifacts and structures. But beyond their scientific value, old trees seem to carry a kind of wisdom. They have learned, through evolutionary adaptation and individual experience, how to persist. They grow slowly, invest heavily in defense, and maintain balance with their environment. They do not hurry, they endure. To spend time with ancient trees is to absorb something of this patience, this long view that sees human concerns as brief moments in a much longer story. They put our lives in perspective, reminding us that we are part of something larger and longer than ourselves. Indigenous peoples have recognized trees as teachers and relatives. Many indigenous cultures around the world do not see trees as mere resources, but as living beings worthy of respect, sometimes as relatives or teachers. Traditional knowledge systems recognize that trees have agency, communicate, and deserve consideration. The Haudenosaunee give thanks to trees in their ceremonies, acknowledging the gifts trees provide. The Maori recognize certain trees as taonga, treasures with spiritual significance. Aboriginal Australians have songlines and stories deeply connected to specific trees and landscapes. These perspectives, often dismissed by colonizers as primitive, are now being recognized by science as holding deep truths. Trees do communicate, do support each other, do form communities. Indigenous knowledge systems have long understood what Western science is only now beginning to measure. The recognition of trees as beings, not things, changes how we treat them. It suggests that forests have rights, that ancient trees should be protected not just for their utility, but for their intrinsic value. As climate change and biodiversity loss accelerate, the wisdom in traditional relationships with trees becomes increasingly relevant. Perhaps the old ways of seeing trees as kin and teachers offer guidance we desperately need. The oldest trees are often protected by keeping their locations secret. When you are the oldest living thing on Earth, publicity can be dangerous. The exact locations of the oldest known bristlecone pines are kept secret to protect them from vandalism, souvenir collectors, and the simple impacts of too many visitors. Signs directing people to generic old trees exist, but the true ancients remain anonymous, known only to researchers. This secrecy is necessary because people do not always treat rare and ancient things with respect. Trees have been damaged by carving, by people breaking off branches as souvenirs, by soil compaction from too many footsteps around their roots. Some of the most famous old trees in the world have had to be protected with fences and restrictions. The major oak in England, estimated at 800 to 1,000 years old, has had its branches supported by scaffolding and the ground around it protected to prevent root damage. The secrecy surrounding the oldest trees is a form of protection, a recognition that sometimes the best way to honor something is to leave it alone, to know that it exists without needing to touch it or claim a piece of it. The oldest trees stand as quiet witnesses, their longevity possible partly because they remain undiscovered by the masses. Some trees have been given legal personhood to protect them. In recent years, a growing movement has sought to grant legal rights to natural entities, including trees. In some jurisdictions, specific trees or forests have been granted legal personhood, recognizing them as entities with rights that can be represented in court. In New Zealand, the Te Urewera forest was granted legal personhood, meaning it can no longer be owned and has rights that must be respected. Individual trees have been granted heritage protection in many places, making it illegal to harm them. These legal innovations recognize that trees have intrinsic value beyond their utility to humans. They acknowledge that forests and ancient trees are irreplaceable parts of our shared heritage and the planet's biological wealth. Granting rights to trees may seem strange in a legal system designed around human interests, but it is a way of acknowledging that human thriving depends on the health of the broader living world. If trees have legal standing, they cannot be destroyed purely for profit. Decisions affecting them must consider their interests, as interpreted by guardians or representatives. This legal approach is still evolving, but it represents a fundamental shift in how some societies understand the relationship between humans and nature, from dominion to kinship, from use to respect. The carbon stored in forests is crucial for global climate. Trees are key players in Earth's climate system. Through photosynthesis, they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, store the carbon in their wood, roots, and the soil around them. Forests collectively store enormous amounts of carbon, hundreds of billions of tons locked away in wood and soil. This storage helps regulate atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, the primary greenhouse gas driving climate change. When forests are cut down or burned, this stored carbon is released back to the atmosphere, contributing to warming. Deforestation is responsible for about 10 to 15% of global carbon emissions, a substantial fraction. Protecting existing forests, especially old-growth forests with high carbon storage, is one of the most effective climate strategies available. Reforestation and afforestation, planting trees where they have been removed or did not previously exist, can help. But young forests take decades to accumulate significant carbon. The trees standing today are climate infrastructure, natural systems that have been removing carbon from the air for decades or centuries. To protect them is to protect ourselves, maintaining one of the planet's most important mechanisms for regulating its own climate. Every tree cut is a small release of ancient carbon. Every forest saved is climate stabilization in action. Tropical rainforests are especially important for biodiversity and climate. Tropical rainforests, though covering only about 6% of Earth's land surface, contain more than half of the world's plant and animal species. They are biodiversity hotspots, places where evolution has produced an almost incomprehensible variety of life. A single hectare of rainforest can contain more tree species than all of North America. The complex structure of rainforests, with multiple canopy layers, provides countless niches for specialized species. But rainforests are also critical for global climate. They store vast amounts of carbon, and their transpiration helps drive global weather patterns, moving moisture from the tropics toward higher latitudes. The Amazon rainforest alone influences rainfall patterns across South America and beyond. Tropical forests are also disappearing at alarming rates, cleared for agriculture, logging, and development. As they disappear, species go extinct, carbon is released, and regional climates shift. Some scientists warn that the Amazon is approaching a tipping point, where deforestation and climate change could trigger a shift from rainforest to savanna, a transformation that would release enormous amounts of carbon and cause mass extinctions. Protecting tropical rainforests is not just about protecting distant places. It is about maintaining systems essential to planetary stability, systems we are only beginning to understand, but on which we all depend. Planting trees is not enough if we do not protect existing forests. As awareness of climate change grows, tree planting has become a popular action. Billions of trees are being pledged by various initiatives. This is positive, but it can obscure a more important truth. Protecting existing forests, especially old-growth forests, is far more effective than planting new ones. Mature forests store more carbon, support more biodiversity, and provide more ecosystem services than young plantations. A tree planted today will take decades to provide the benefits of a mature tree, and it may not survive at all if not properly cared for. Many tree planting campaigns plant monocultures, rows of a single species, which do not provide the ecological complexity of natural forests. Some have even planted trees in grasslands and savannas where they do not naturally occur, damaging those ecosystems. The focus on planting can distract from the harder work of stopping deforestation and protecting old forests. Every ancient forest cut down represents centuries of growth and carbon storage lost, decades or centuries that we do not have to wait for replacement trees to mature. Tree planting is good, but forest protection is essential. We must do both, but the priority should be saving what already exists, the living legacy of centuries, before replacing what has been lost. The cultural significance of trees. Trees have been sacred across countless cultures and time periods. Throughout human history, trees have been objects of reverence. The oak was sacred to Zeus in Greek mythology, and to Thor in Norse tradition. The ash tree supported the cosmos in Nordic belief, its roots and branches connecting all worlds. In Celtic traditions, groves of trees were holy places where rituals were conducted. The Bodhi tree, under which the Buddha attained enlightenment, is venerated by Buddhists. Many Native American traditions honor specific trees and forests as sacred, places where the spiritual and physical worlds meet. The tree of life appears in myths and religions across the globe, from ancient Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, representing connection, growth, and the sustenance of life. These traditions recognize something essential about trees. They are bridges between earth and sky, givers of life, witnesses to time. They stand at the center of many cosmologies, their form echoing fundamental structures of existence. Even in secular modern societies, people often feel a special connection to trees, a sense that they are important beyond their practical value. This near-universal reverence suggests that humans recognize in trees something worthy of respect, a presence that speaks to deep parts of our nature. Individual trees have become famous and draw visitors from around the world. Some trees have achieved individual fame. The General Sherman sequoia draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each year, people who come specifically to stand in the presence of the largest tree on Earth. The major oak in Sherwood Forest is associated with Robin Hood legend. Anne Frank's chestnut tree, visible from the attic where she hid, became a symbol of hope and endurance until it fell in 2010, its offspring now planted around the world. The tree of Trisid, Tenere, once considered the most isolated tree on Earth, standing alone in the Sahara, was famously run over by a truck driver in 1973, an act that seems almost impossible given its isolation. It has been replaced by a metal sculpture, a monument to what was lost. These famous trees become pilgrimage sites, places people visit to connect with history, nature, or simply to witness something extraordinary. That individual trees can become famous, recognized across continents, speaks to their power to capture imagination. They are not just members of a species, but individuals, each with a story, a presence that can be felt and remembered. To visit such a tree is to participate in a shared human experience, to add your presence to the countless others who have stood in the same spot, looking up in wonder. Trees mark important historical events and places. Across the world, trees serve as living monuments. Treaty oaks mark places where agreements were signed. Liberty trees commemorate revolutionary actions. Survivor trees endure disasters and become symbols of resilience. The survivor tree at the Oklahoma City bombing memorial, an American elm that withstood the blast, now stands as a symbol of survival and hope. A pear tree that survived the World Trade Center attacks was nursed back to health and returned to the memorial site. Hiroshima has trees that survived the atomic bomb, still living testaments to that catastrophic day. These trees witnessed history and bear silent testimony to human events. They connect us to the past in a visceral way that monuments of stone cannot quite match, because they are alive, continuing to grow, reaching toward the future while rooted in historical soil. Veterans plant trees to honor fallen comrades. Families plant trees to mark births and commemorate deaths. The practice of marking significant moments with trees is ancient and continues today. A recognition that trees endure, that they can carry memory forward across generations. To plant a tree is an act of hope, a belief that the future will come and that this tree will be there to see it. Urban trees make cities more livable and valuable. In cities, trees are essential infrastructure, though often undervalued. Street trees provide shade that reduces heat and lowers cooling costs. They improve air quality by filtering pollutants. They reduce stormwater runoff, their roots absorbing rain that would otherwise overwhelm drainage systems. They provide wildlife habitat even in dense urban areas, supporting birds, insects, and small mammals. Property values increase on tree-lined streets, sometimes by substantial amounts. Businesses on streets with trees see higher customer traffic and sales. Trees provide psychological benefits, reducing stress and improving mental health for city dwellers. They create beauty and seasonal change in concrete landscapes. Despite these benefits, urban trees face enormous challenges. Soil is often compacted and poor. Air and water pollution stress them. Roots are confined by pavement. Branches are pruned severely to accommodate power lines. Many urban trees survive only a fraction of their potential lifespan. Yet they persist, growing in sidewalk cutouts and tiny yards, providing their services without complaint. Urban forestry, the practice of actively managing city trees, is gaining recognition as essential to urban planning. The cities that will thrive in the future will be those that invest in their urban forests, recognizing that trees are not decoration, but infrastructure as important as roads and sewers. Bonsai is the art of growing trees in miniature. The Japanese art of bonsai demonstrates what can be achieved when trees are carefully trained and miniaturized. Bonsai are not a special species, but ordinary trees grown in containers and shaped through pruning, wiring, and careful care to remain small while maintaining the proportions of a full-sized tree. A bonsai might be only a foot tall, but have the gnarled trunk and spreading branches of an ancient tree. Some bonsai are themselves ancient, passed down through generations. Trees hundreds of years old that remain small enough to hold in two hands. The art requires patience, attention, and a deep understanding of how trees grow. It is not about domination, but about partnership, working with the tree's natural tendencies to create a living sculpture. Each bonsai is unique, its shape determined by the species, the artist's vision, and the tree's own responses to training. Bonsai reminds us that trees are flexible, adaptable, responsive. Even constrained in a small pot, they continue to grow, reaching for light, producing leaves, and sometimes flowers and fruit. They demonstrate that the essence of tree can exist at many scales, that the impulse to grow and reach upward persists even when size is limited. In miniature, we can see and appreciate details that would be invisible in a full-sized tree, learning intimate lessons about form, balance, and the patience of growth. The future of forests. Climate change is shifting where trees can grow. As global temperatures rise, the suitable climate zones for many tree species are shifting. In the northern hemisphere, conditions suitable for particular species are moving northward and upward in elevation. Species that evolved for cooler climates may find their current homes too warm, while their seeds cannot reach the newly suitable territories quickly enough to keep pace with climate change. Trees migrate slowly under natural conditions, limited by how far seeds can disperse. Some species may be left behind, stranded in climates they are no longer adapted to, unable to reach the cooler areas where they could thrive. Mountain species are particularly vulnerable, as they can only move up elevation and eventually run out of mountain. Climate change is effectively creating moving targets, with trees trying to track suitable conditions that keep shifting. Foresters and conservationists are debating whether to assist tree migration, deliberately planting species in areas where they do not currently occur, but where climate projections suggest they will be suitable in the future. This raises complex questions about what is natural, what risks we take by moving species, and whether human-assisted migration is necessary for some species to survive. The forests of the future may look quite different from those of today, their composition determined not just by what grows there now, but by which species can adapt or move fast enough to keep pace with rapid change. New pests and diseases threaten trees worldwide. Globalization has moved organisms across the world at unprecedented rates. Trees that evolved with a certain suite of insects, fungi, and other organisms are suddenly exposed to pests and pathogens they have no evolutionary experience with. The results can be devastating. American chestnuts, once dominant trees in eastern forests, were functionally eliminated by chestnut blight, a fungus from Asia, Dutch elm disease, caused by another Asian fungus spread by beetles, killed millions of elms across Europe and North America. Emerald ash borer, an Asian beetle, is killing ash trees throughout North America. Sudden oak death is spreading along the West Coast. These invasive pests and diseases can fundamentally change forest composition, eliminating species that once were common. Efforts to control them through quarantines, pesticides, and biological control have had mixed success. Some trees are being bred for resistance or replaced with tolerant species. But the problem continues as new invasive species arrive constantly, hidden in wood products, plants, and cargo. Climate change exacerbates the problem, as warmer winters allow pests to survive in regions where cold once limited them. The forests we know are under siege from organisms that see them not as ecosystems to be part of, but as resources to exploit. Protecting forests now requires vigilance against invisible threats that can spread faster than we can respond. Scientists are working to breed disease-resistant trees. In response to devastating pests and diseases, scientists are working to develop resistant varieties of threatened trees. For American chestnuts, this has meant decades of breeding, crossing surviving American trees with blight-resistant Asian chestnuts, then back-crossing to recover American characteristics while retaining resistance. The goal is a tree that is primarily American chestnut in genetics and appearance, but carries the genes for blight resistance. Similar work is ongoing for other species. Some efforts use traditional breeding, a slow process taking generations. Others employ genetic engineering, inserting specific resistance genes. These technologies offer hope for restoring trees that have been decimated, but they also raise questions. Can we restore what has been lost? Or will the new trees, however similar, be fundamentally different? Is genetic engineering of forest trees safe and appropriate? Or does it represent an unacceptable intervention in natural systems? The debates are complex, balancing the desire to save species with concerns about unintended consequences. What is clear is that doing nothing means losing these species entirely. The forests of the future may be inhabited by trees that look like those of the past, but carry silent genetic modifications that allow them to survive threats their ancestors could not. It is a compromise, a way of preserving at least something of what would otherwise be entirely lost. Forest fires are becoming more frequent and severe. Across many regions, forest fires are growing in intensity and frequency, driven by climate change, drought, and past fire suppression that allowed fuel to accumulate. The megafires of recent years in California, Australia, the Amazon, and elsewhere have burned with unprecedented ferocity, killing trees that evolved to survive fire, destroying ancient forests, and releasing vast amounts of carbon. These fires are changing landscapes and climate simultaneously, creating feedback loops where fire releases carbon that warms the planet, which increases fire risk. Some forests are not regenerating after severe fires, transitioning instead to shrubland or grassland. The loss is not just ecological, but cultural and spiritual, as landscapes that define regions and support communities are transformed. Fire management is evolving, with more emphasis on controlled burns and letting natural fires burn under appropriate conditions. But climate change is making conditions more extreme. The thick smoke from these fires affects millions, causing health problems far from the flames. The orange skies and ash-filled air of fire season have become a new normal in some regions. Trees that once stood for centuries are now at risk from fires that no adaptation can withstand. How we manage forests, fire, and climate in the coming years will determine whether current forests persist or are replaced by something fundamentally different. Reforestation efforts offer hope but face challenges. Around the world, Ambitious reforestation projects aim to plant billions of trees, restoring forests to degraded lands and combating climate change. These efforts offer hope and can succeed, but they face significant challenges. Many planted trees die in the first few years from drought, poor soil, or inadequate care. Planting is the easy part. Ensuring survival is harder. Monoculture plantations, even if they survive, do not provide the biodiversity and ecosystem services of natural forests. The best reforestation works with natural processes, protecting areas and allowing natural regeneration while planting to accelerate the process. Community involvement is crucial, as local people must have incentives to protect young forests. Without their support, planted trees may be cleared for agriculture or cut for firewood. Reforestation must also consider future climate, planting species likely to survive in the conditions that will exist in 50 or 100 years, not just those suited to current conditions. Despite challenges, successful reforestation is happening. The Atlantic forest in Brazil, once reduced to a few % of its original extent, is slowly expanding through protection and restoration. China's massive tree planting programs have added significant forest cover. These successes show that recovery is possible, that degraded lands can become forests again, but they require sustained effort, adaptive management, and patience. Trees grow slowly, and restoring a forest is the work of decades, but it is work that can succeed if we commit to it. Indigenous land management can teach us how to care for forests. Indigenous peoples have managed forests sustainably for thousands of years, often maintaining and even enhancing biodiversity while meeting their needs. Traditional practices like controlled burning, selective harvesting, and the protection of culturally important species created mosaic landscapes with high diversity. Many forests considered pristine wilderness are actually the result of millennia of human management. When indigenous peoples are removed from their lands or prevented from practicing traditional management, forests often decline. Recognizing indigenous land rights and supporting traditional management practices is increasingly understood as essential for conservation. Indigenous territories often have better conservation outcomes than protected areas managed by governments. This is not romantic idealization, but recognition that cultures that have lived with particular forests for generations have developed knowledge systems suited to those places. They understand relationships and cycles that scientific management is only beginning to appreciate. Supporting indigenous land rights is thus not just a matter of justice, but of effectiveness. The knowledge held by indigenous elders is irreplaceable. Each elder who passes without sharing their knowledge represents a loss as significant as the burning of a library. Incorporating traditional ecological knowledge with scientific approaches offers the best hope for forests, combining long-term local understanding with broader scientific insight. Reflections on trees. Every tree is both ordinary and miraculous. To walk through a forest is to be surrounded by miracles so common we forget to notice them. Each tree is an engineering marvel, a biological factory that splits water, captures carbon from air, creates sugar from sunlight, all while supporting ecosystems and shaping climate. Yet they are also just trees, so familiar we barely see them. This combination of the ordinary and the extraordinary is part of trees' power. They remind us that wonder is available everywhere. In the backyard maple, as much as in the ancient redwood, a single leaf is astounding in its complexity. Its layers of cells, precisely arranged to capture light, its veins delivering water and sugars, its stomata opening and closing in response to conditions. Multiply that by thousands of leaves. Add the complexity of roots and bark and wood. Consider the partnerships with fungi and bacteria. the animals that depend on the tree, the decades or centuries of growth, and every tree becomes a world, a complexity we can spend lifetimes studying without exhausting. Yet they are also just trees, standing silently, asking nothing, giving freely. This duality invites us to see differently, to recognize that the ordinary is miraculous, that every moment is filled with wonders if we pause to notice them. Trees teach patience in an impatient world. In a culture obsessed with speed and instant results, trees offer a different model. They grow slowly, investing years or decades to reach maturity. They do not hurry. An oak planted today will take 20 years before producing substantial acorns, 50 years before approaching maturity, and will still be improving its production at 100 years. This long-term perspective is foreign to modern life, but essential for addressing long-term challenges. Climate change, biodiversity loss, and other environmental crises require thinking across decades and centuries, the kind of thinking that comes naturally to trees, but challenges human institutions built around quarterly profits and election cycles. Spending time with trees, especially old trees, can recalibrate our sense of time. Their slow growth reminds us that important things take time, that some values cannot be rushed. A forest is not created in a year or even a decade, but across generations. To plant a tree is an act of faith in the future, a recognition that others will benefit from our work long after we are gone. In learning to think like trees, patiently and long-term, we might find approaches to our problems that short-term thinking cannot provide. The quiet of a forest is filled with hidden activity. A forest can seem very quiet, especially away from roads and human activity. But this quietness is not emptiness. Beneath the surface, roots are growing, fungi are exchanging nutrients, bacteria are fixing nitrogen. In the soil, countless invertebrates are processing organic matter. In the canopy, birds are feeding, insects are pollinating, leaves are photosynthesizing, trees are transpiring water, their hydraulic systems pulling moisture up from depths and releasing it to the air. Chemical signals are passing through the network, warnings of insect attack, sharing of resources between connected trees. All of this happens in relative silence, without the noise that characterizes human activity. The forest's work is mostly quiet, the essential processes of life happening without announcement. This teaches something about value and importance. Not all significant work is noisy. Much that matters happens in silence. The forest does not advertise its importance. It simply grows, sustains, provides, year after year, century after century. In a world that increasingly values visibility and loudness, forests remind us that quiet persistence matters, that slow, steady work accumulates into enormous achievement over time. Every person can have a relationship with trees. You do not need to be a scientist or forester to connect with trees. Everyone can cultivate awareness of trees, learning to recognize species, noticing seasonal changes, spending time among them. Choosing a particular tree to visit regularly, to watch through seasons and years, can create a relationship, a familiarity that deepens over time. You notice when it buds in spring, observe how its leaves change in autumn, see where birds nest in its branches. This attention is reciprocal in a way. The tree does not notice you, but you change through noticing it, becoming more aware, more connected to natural cycles. Planting a tree creates a different relationship, one of care and investment. Watching something grow that you planted creates connection across time. The tree becomes personal, not just any tree, but your tree, one you brought into being. Even in cities, where most people live, trees are present. Learning the street trees in your neighborhood, noticing which species thrive and which struggle, observing who uses them, all of this creates connection. Trees do not require anything from us, except perhaps protection and occasionally care. In return, they offer their presence, their services, their quiet company. The relationship is available to everyone, asking only attention, a willingness to notice and value what is already there, all around us, reaching toward the sky. Closing thoughts. The rustle of leaves is one of nature's most soothing sounds. There is something deeply calming about the sound of wind moving through leaves. It is not a single sound, but a complex rustling, countless leaves moving slightly out of phase, creating a sound that is constant but ever-changing. Different trees create different sounds. Aspens, with their flat stems that allow leaves to flutter in the slightest breeze, create a distinctive shimmer. Pines produce a softer whoosh as wind moves through needles. Oak leaves, thicker and more rigid, create a deeper rustling. These sounds are natural white noise, complex and variable enough to be interesting without being distracting. Research suggests that natural sounds, including rustling leaves, reduce stress and promote relaxation. There is something primal in our response to these sounds, perhaps an evolutionary inheritance from ancestors for whom such sounds meant safety, shelter, and the presence of resources. Or perhaps it is simply that the sound is beautiful, organic, alive in a way that mechanical sounds are not. Whatever the reason, lying beneath trees and listening to leaves move in the wind is universally recognized as peaceful. It is a free form of therapy, available wherever trees grow, requiring only that we pause and listen. Trees connect us to the past and the future simultaneously. When you stand beside an old tree, you are in the presence of a living connection to the past. The tree was a seedling generations before you were born. It has witnessed history you know only from books. Its rings record droughts and abundant years that no human remembers. To touch such a tree is to touch the past directly, not through artifact or document, but through a living being that was there. At the same time, trees connect us to the future. Plant a tree today, and it will likely outlive you, growing for decades or centuries after you are gone. It will shade people you will never meet, provide habitat for animals in a world you will not see. This simultaneous connection to past and future places us in a longer timeline, part of a story that extends far beyond individual lives. It suggests that our actions matter beyond our lifetimes, that what we do to or for trees affects a future we will not experience. This perspective is humbling and empowering at once, reminding us that we are part of something larger and longer than ourselves, and that our choices ripple forward in time, carried in the growth rings of trees we may never see mature. And so, dear listener, our journey through the world of trees comes to a gentle close. From the ancient bristlecones clinging to mountain slopes to the mangroves standing in salt water, from the vast networks of roots and fungi beneath the soil to the dancing leaves catching sunlight far above, we have wandered together through forests real and imagined. We have glimpsed the patience of centuries in growth rings, felt the interconnection of life woven through root and fungus, traced the partnerships between trees and all the creatures that depend on them. Trees remind us that existence is vast, patient, and endlessly interconnected. They show us both the immensity of time and the delicate threads of relationship that tie all living things together. Every tree overhead is a gift, every forest a treasure, every leaf a small miracle of biology that we may take for granted but should never forget to marvel at. As you lie here, letting your breath fall into an easy rhythm, imagine yourself resting beneath a great tree. Picture the rough bark against your back, the dappled shade moving across your closed eyelids, the soft rustle of leaves above. Feel the ground beneath you, alive, with roots spreading through soil, connected through invisible threads to other trees all around. Smell the rich scent of earth and leaves, that forest perfume that has meant safety and home to humans for countless generations. Hear the whisper of wind through branches, the distant call of birds, the profound quiet of living things at work, all of it flowing into stillness, into peace, into rest. The trees have carried countless generations before us, and they will carry countless more. Their story is not finished, and neither is ours. Just as day gives way to night, every waking thought drifts gently into sleep. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video when you are ready. But if your eyes are growing heavy, let the gentle presence of trees surround you and guide you softly into sleep, into stillness, into the vast and timeless quiet where the forest keeps watch. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and drift into sleep, into peace, into the patient green world where trees stand as guardians and time moves slowly, like the growth of wood, steady and sure and eternal. Good night.